Welcome to Burnin Daylight, the only podcast for the working cowboy. Well, howdy there, daylight burners. Happy Monday. Hope you had a good weekend. Hope everything's treated you well. It's still been slam-packed busy over on my end of things, but we'll get through it. Happens every fall. Weather's cooling off, and more than anything, just been busy. And but it's good. It's good sometimes just sit down, have a conversation, which I'm not to toot my own horn, but I'm pretty good at having a conversation, I think. And I hadn't really sat down and visited with my producer. You don't see her around a whole lot because she's got her own thing going on. But we're working on this. She's gonna be helping me out. She helps me out quite a bit already. But we'll be doing a lot more stuff in the near future, hopefully. But young Katie got a chance to touch base with her and talk about shit that's going on in the world, and it's a fun conversation. It's always. She's very smart person, in a much different situation than me and my family's in. So I always have to tip my hat to her. She's they've gone through a bunch here lately. But anyway, before we get into that, I got to tell you about some sponsors that helped me put this show on the air. But before we do even that, me and one of my sponsors have got to announce a winner finally for the spur raffle that for the pair of spurs that Tracie Morrison has made, and man, they're nice. I be getting these out in the mail as soon as I get an address, but in the random number generator right now, random number 1 through 50, enter. Here we go. Number 49. And number 49, that would be, I'm not sure how you say his name. Pavo, Paavo. He's from up in Oregon, I believe. So anyway, congrats, buddy. That's a hell of a nice set of spurs. I'll get your information and get them sent up your way. And so, without further ado, if you are a Patreon subscriber, enjoy the show. If not, well, let me tell you about Tracie Morrison. He's out of Chelsea, Oklahoma, and he's building, what did he say? I saw him put on Facebook the other day, cowboy accoutrements. And so buckles, bits, spurs, conchos, any sort of silver work. When it comes to that, he can do it and does a really, really nice job. His engraving is really, really well done. And his products are well made for the working cowboy, priced for the working cowboy as well. You can find him over on Facebook and Instagram. Just give him a search, Tracie Morrison, Tracie Morrison Custom Silver. Let him know you heard about it on Burnin Daylight. And if you got any needs, let him know. Christmas is coming up here pretty fast, so let him know. Next up, we got Scott Jason Hall right along those same lines. Scott's a little more, I'd say, experienced than Tracie. He's been at it for a long time, but Scott Hall, you know him from the show. He's a buddy of mine, and just a great guy and a hell of an artist. He owns, what are they calling it? It is Hall's Rocky Mountain Jewelry. He's an engraver and a complete metalsmith. And that includes gold and silversmithing, blacksmithing, and repoussé. If you're wondering what the hell that is, it's stone cutting and setting. And not to mention, I said he's an artist, but he also does pen and ink artwork. He's got a background in cowboying. He's sure enough true blue buckaroo. Just made that up on the spot right there, but I think it's got a nice ring to it. And he's just a really nice guy. He's makes some just really beautiful art. I mean that's to put it lightly. Or I mean the best way to put it is just art. But man, it's really really nice. He made a really nice necklace for my wife, and she was really thrilled by it. So anyway, check him out on Facebook. He's got his personal page, Scott Jason Hall. Hall's Rocky Mountain Jewelry for the business page, and then he's also, him and his wife got an Instagram profile, and it's at Cow Camp Life. So go check him out, and let him know you heard about it on Burnin Daylight. He can get you hooked up. And then next up, we got Greene's Reserve Hemp Snuff. It's all natural, made out of, well, outside of the flavoring stuff, but 100% made out of hemp. And I think they're out of Florida. It's if you're looking to quit chewing tobacco, or you're just looking for a little something else new, this is a good alternative. The stuff that I've got, they're natural, is just kind of tastes a lot like a straight flavored tobacco, so Skull Straight, Copenhagen Straight, somewhere right along those lines. No nicotine, no THC. Doesn't say anything about CBD, but it's being hemp, I'm sure there's some in there. And I don't know if there's any health benefits other than there's no nicotine and no tobacco. So anyways, it's pretty good stuff, though, if you're looking to quit chewing or just switch it up. It seems like it kind of helps me focus, so I chew it when I'm doing some research. Anyway, go to greensreserve.com/shop and use my promo code MattGR for $1 off a roll, or $5 off, or $1 off a can, $5 off a roll. greensreserve.com/shop, promo code MattGR. And then last but not least, we got Cardomax.com. The best supplements in the business. I drink this stuff every day, especially the immunity booster. It comes in orange and watermelon flavors. It's all natural ingredients. I think, what do we got here? We'll just read the back of this deal. After completing our intensive training and serving our country side by side, entrepreneurs became our next mission. Cardomax Immune Booster consists of the highest quality ingredients such as Siberian ginseng, schisandra, and rhodiola rosea. No idea what any of that stuff is, but commonly known as adaptogens. These supplements have roots in ancient medicine and have been researched significantly over the past 70 years in modern scientific methods. It's good for your immune system. And it's all natural ingredients, no sugar, and no calories, no sugar, no sodium. But it helps your body recover, helps your immune system stay strong. And it's veteran owned and operated by a former Navy SEAL. And if you head over to Cardomax.com, use the promo code MOVEYOURASS, MOVEYERASS, you'll get 10% off your order. Cardomax.com, promo code MOVEYOURASS. And let's get back into the show.
Burning daylight, burning daylight. In the saddle till the job's done right. Burning daylight. Well, life is just a gather, and you won't catch 'em all. But when you ride through the gate, make sure you sit up tall. I can see the horizon, it's looking pretty bright. Well, get your ass moving, son, we're burning daylight. Burning daylight. Burning daylight. In the saddle till the job's done right. Burning daylight. Burning daylight.
Yeah, it's been just like crazy busy over here, like just cattle moving all the time. So we had a lot of health issues this year. I don't know, the weather just hit them like just right. You know, we had a bunch of like really up and down, you know, like 40, 50 degree temperature swings, and then we got some moisture, and then cattle fell apart. But yeah, how's the weather up there? Is it got any snow yet?
We haven't at our place, but higher elevations have. So it's like down into the high 20s at night, around there, and then 40s during the day.
Oh, okay.
So, Jack Frost visits every night, and leaves are basically gone. It's kind of, we call it stick season here. It's like just kind of in between. It's ugly. But yeah, a lot of the ski, like alpine ski places are making snow, and they'll all be open, a little before Thanksgiving.
Yeah. I think that's probably about the way it is. They got, up at Lake Tahoe, they got 3 foot the other night. So, I guess it's been more than a week ago, but the higher elevations got some snow. We got pretty good rain here, but I don't know. It's been chilly. It's definitely fall. It got cold.
Yeah, I'm not ready for it.
I wasn't either, but
I'm just in denial.
The Cavs weren't ready for it either, so we've been busy. How's Mark and the kid getting along?
They're doing all right. We're all really, really, really ready to move and relocate and then get farming again. This has been such a strange year for us, and it's a weird year because we've had so much less agriculture in it. You would think that this would have been a great year to like actually take a family vacation or do something that we never can do during, haying season or processing time. But we haven't, because we've been working on finishing our house. So we built this place from scratch and milled the lumber for it and everything. And once we decided we were going to sell it and relocate, we had to finish everything that, if we had planned on staying here, it probably would have taken us 5 more years or something if we were doing it bit by bit. But we've kind of hit it as hard as we can and tried to get stuff done, and it looks really nice. So our farm's on the market now. So if anyone wants to move to southern Vermont, we've got a beautiful place. And hopefully it sells quick, and we can sort of start a new adventure, new chapter. We're ready for something else. Husband's been busy with Army stuff and dealing with all the woke military stuff that unfortunately has taken over our armed forces.
Right. But don't forget though, they're also holding a secret tribunal, and
yes,
Hillary will be hanged again any day soon.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I think it was Red October. They were all pretty sure it was all happening early October. Then the date got pushed a little bit more, and now we're into November.
It's like every other cult that's ever happened. It's like the pastor that, like the televangelist guy that always predicts the end of the world or the rapture, and he predicted it in 2012, and then but he made a miscalculation, so he had to go back to the drawing board, and
he is dyslexic, so it was really 2021.
Oh, well, he's still got another 2 months, so it could happen. It could still happen.
Every day we are closer to the end times, but it is hard to sort of put your finger. I'm always interested in following all of the Q stuff, just because there are some interesting phenomenons in like the numbers of things and connections But I think it's a little bit like the Kevin Bacon thing. Like we are all connected.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're all, if you go back far enough, we all have, great grandparents that shared the same birth date or something, or we're part of the same, I don't know, Elks Club or something.
Yeah.
It's hard to know what is actually a true diabolical connection and what's just the coincidence of living on one planet altogether.
There's so many like fascinating coincidences, and I think we're on this kind of the same wavelength where I'm fascinated by conspiracy theories, but I don't buy into them. I like to do some research and like play around the edges, but I don't sell. Like, I don't go full bore into them. And like this QAnon thing never really made sense to me. Mostly I don't go on those forums like 8chan, 4chan, all that shit. I don't do any of that. Like about the hardest I'll go is like just go on a Twitter rabbit hole, because that's always kind of fun. People are insane on Twitter. Like just absolutely insane.
Yeah, and I'm not a huge fan of Twitter.
I used to be a huge fan, and then it just turned all political. Like everything else in the world, everything's political, and it's just wild. Like watching these hardcore lefties attack Aaron Rodgers, and then stand up for Pfizer and Merck and the NFL of all people.
Everyone needs a cheerleader.
Right. It just is like, man, I didn't think I'd see the day when you saw like dyed-in-the-wool leftists like standing up for giant corporations. It's like, huh.
Yes, and also pedophilia. I just saw a I guess they have a different term for it, but it's like a mature person attracted to a minor or something. There's some acronym they use now, but I saw that today, which is horrifying. And then I guess what's next is leftists standing up for Walmart and the Koch brothers. That's
I'm sure like when Walmart employees start walking out, when they have to, when they're forced to get the vaccine, it'll be the patron saint of Sam Walton is just frowning upon all you blasphemers.
I do think that for some reason human beings seem to have a huge draw wanting to idolize something, and the idolatry of QAnon is the thing that really, it confuses me when a lot of people who are Christian, I see it in a lot of Catholics. Mm-hmm. It seems like they really like to idolize something and put it on a pedestal. Mm-hmm. And that's where it always loses me. That's where all cults lose me.
Mm-hmm. I think it's weird. Like we're seeing fundamentalism on many different levels. Like the Trump stuff is a level of fundamentalism that I don't understand. The QAnon stuff, and then the woke stuff is the worst. I mean that's
become a real religion.
Religious fervor. It's insane. And all of those groups, none of them can see any sort of hypocrisy or irony in their actions. It's like my father-in-law was big into the Q stuff. Like I don't know what it is about the boomers and like they listen to these just insane people on YouTube. I mean, just insane. And he's fully, or at least initially, he was convinced that this secret military tribunal was going on. And he was telling me the other day about how I forget, was it Bill Barr or somebody else that they were holding on trial, in this in this secret deal. And it's at Guantanamo, by the way. If anybody was wondering, it's this tribunal's being held at Gitmo.
Why would they pick that too?
I don't, because it
seems so hard to get to.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really figured. I think because it's away from everything, so
you can't verify it.
Yeah, plausible deniability. Easily defensible too, I guess. I don't know. I'm not sure on that, but that's supposedly where it's being held. And I was like, so is this the same military that just appointed a transgender as a 4-star admiral with no previous military experience? Like that same military is the one holding this tribunal that's gonna hang Hillary Clinton for a second time?
Well, I guess they say that there's like 2 different militaries, but I don't know. I mean, we're sort of involved in it. I haven't seen that. Nobody's called us to be in the cool military.
I was going to say my brother-in-law's in the Air Force, and I haven't heard anything on his end either. I mean, other than he was facing court-martial for seeking a medical exemption for the second vaccine shot.
Yeah, I guess sometimes I wonder if people would be more disturbed by the military if they knew how chaotic and disorganized things were. I mean, maybe they're really organized, but that's just what I've seen is I'm always just really surprised at how not organized things are, which I think is sometimes better because that makes it less centralized.
I agree. I've listened to a lot of military or former military guys on podcasts, and they always talk about how, I mean, the hurry up and wait is a classic military thing. The different branches of the military not talking to each other is another thing. Mm-hmm. And then you throw like all the State Department and CIA and all these other entities in the mix as well, because they're all just, it's all a big swamp. I mean, whoever made that term is that it's so accurate. It's just
and it's a swamp in everything. I mean, in every state has their own swamp.
Yeah. Yeah, even you go down to the county level, it's the same way. It's always just it's a good old boys club. But but then you got, I mean, how many military members we have? 1 million or so?
Something like that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a lot of people that you gotta try and organize. Yeah, and then when the people that are running the show are Mark Milley and Rachel Levine or whatever fuck that thing's name is, and Lloyd Austin. I mean, just swamp creature deluxes.
Yeah, you just hope that there's a lot of people just sitting at their desks or out in the field who are doing the right thing, even though their leadership sucks.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that is not being focused upon. I mean, I just get frustrated because I know, especially with guard stuff, there's only so many hours of service that, you can put in every month. And when you devote all of that to woke education and, progressive politics, you're not doing the other stuff. And you can get away with that. And we've seen this in our town and state government as well. And you can get away with that for a while, because there's people that'll still keep going to work and do the right thing. But it does eventually catch up with you.
Well, I think we're seeing that on the COVID regime. Like, you're seeing a lot of people are just like, all right, so how many boosters do I have to have now? I mean, I read an article that, I talked about it last week, I think, or a week before, a 4th booster, and this thing hadn't even been out a year, or like right at a year. That's just not a good vaccine. There's not an effective one. If you have to get 4 shots in a year, that's
It is if you're a drug manufacturer selling them, though.
That
and charging
part,
whatever you want, so the government pays for it.
and waived of any liability as well.
Yes.
That's a big kicker. I mean,
and
that's
like all vaccines, though. I mean, that's the other thing is I hope that at some point this opens up the conversation to the American people about looking at drug manufacturers and their liabilities in general.
right. Yeah. Probably not, but we can hope. we can hope. Yeah, I don't know, but it does. I mean, we flew Southwest, and we had a couple minor delays, like less than an hour on both of them. But I was a little nervous that we were going to be stuck in Kansas, but it's amazing how miraculously after they backed away from the unpaid leave for non-vaccinated employees, how things just like kind of fell back into a rhythm, and they're the same old Southwest now. It's weird, and that none of that got reported on at all.
Well, they tried to deny it, saying all of it was weather related.
Initially, yeah, and then
that was ridiculous.
But then if you like followed their press statements or like the statements that the company put out itself and not what was actually being reported, they addressed the vaccine thing like 2 or 3 different times. And then eventually they said, yeah, we're going to move away from that unpaid leave. And all of a sudden, like, you're not hearing about thousands of flights canceled from Southwest anymore. You're hearing about it from American, but not from Southwest.
Yeah. I was surprised. Wasn't it that Kansas Democrat governor who was one of the first people to tell Biden that they weren't going to do the mandatory vaccines on businesses? I'm pretty sure.
I wouldn't be. I think so. I don't know much about her. Like, she got elected. I think I don't know if it was I don't know if we voted for her in 2016 or if she got elected in 2018.
Laura Kelly is her name.
When did she take office?
2019.
Okay, so yeah, so I was already gone from Kansas by then, but because the last guy was who was Brownback, Sam Brownback was the governor before her, and he was decent at times, but I don't know. Kansas, for being as conservative of a state as it is, I paid a lot of taxes there, a lot more than you'd think for Kansas. So I don't know. It's a weird state. Every state's weird, I think.
Yeah.
What do you think's going to happen in the near future? Are you expecting the peaceful divorce, or are you expecting like full out armed conflict, or are we just going to implode like the Soviet Union?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I think it'll really depend on a bunch of different things that will come to light, and to see how people react. Like how do the masses react? It's been interesting to watch. Like in Europe, you see these big protests on a pretty regular basis, and we haven't really had that. There was a big one that marched, I think, through Brooklyn or somewhere in New York City, Manhattan, but we haven't really seen huge mass public uprisings. Like, I don't think anything even to rival what the BLM stuff had.
No, not even close.
It was just like actually people marching, not the rioting with Antifa.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see, well, one, when people start losing their jobs, if this OSHA stuff goes through, that's going to really affect a lot of people. And then also, I think history shows us that it can be really little things that spark it's a little kick in the pants, like
Franz Ferdinand.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
so
a nothing sort of figure, like really minor
just
figure.
Archduke.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, like I wondered if the Ashley Biden diary could do it. Like that's really weird.
I have not dug into that, but I'm going to have you explain that here in just a second. But before we move on, have you ever done any research on the actual assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand?
No, not really.
It was a colossal clusterfuck that almost didn't happen. And then just by like a stroke of dumb luck, like the Gavrilo Princip, I think was the guy's name that actually did the shooting. He, like the car got a flat tire or something. And so they ended up taking a different route or something. And so Princip, he actually like left his post and went to go get a sandwich or some shit. And then like as he was walking out the sandwich shop, here comes the car by him and it stalled or some shit like that. And he's like, "Oh, lucky for me," and shot him. And it was a giant clusterfuck.
Crazy.
But it was wild.
There should be a movie of that.
There should be. But we'd have to find a black trans woman to play Gavrilo Princip to give, to make it more authentic or something.
That'll be interesting. I don't know what's going to happen with that I think a lot about that in Hollywood. Like if you have a role for like an Irish girl, is it like, how does casting work? I don't know. To me, I really like the accuracy of people portraying what they are, who they are. I mean, I guess that could pigeonhole you in roles, but I don't know. They're redoing so many kids' traditional fairy tales and stories. It's kind of wild right now.
Oh, it's it's insane, really. I mean, it's all insane. So what's the deal with the Ashley Biden diary? I haven't not looked into this at all.
Okay, so my understanding of it is this diary was found. I don't think it was stolen. I haven't really found anything to prove that it was stolen. But the diary was found and somehow it got to the Project Veritas people. And they couldn't, and I'm not sure if it just went to them or other sort of tabloid organizations, but they couldn't verify it. And so they didn't want to release it. Like they wanted to do their due diligence.
Mm-hmm.
And then fast forward to what just recently happened is then the Project Veritas journalists had the FBI raid their houses to try to get this back. And I should back up a tiny bit because the Project Veritas people, I think they gave it to the police. They've already given it to law enforcement. I mean, I don't know if maybe they also made copies. I mean, I've seen digitized copies of it, so it's out there. But I think they gave the original diary journal to the police. And then I think yesterday, the Project Veritas guy, the guy who loves dancing and wants to be in a musical, his house was raided. So it's a little bit it's a bad look because up until the FBI raids, it wasn't verified that it was Ashley Biden's property. And so instead of playing it off saying this is fake, this is set up, which I would think you could do. I mean, people could impersonate other people all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Sending in the feds in an unprecedented, I mean, it seems like a very unreasonable situation. You can't raid someone's house for a diary. I mean, it's another adult. I mean, I don't know, especially if it's not a proven case where something's stolen. I wouldn't think there's a legal precedent to go in someone's house and search it. And who knows what else they took in the meantime or bugged the house. I mean, it reads like something, I don't know, some kind of bad cop drama. But the diary itself is, I mean, I can sympathize and empathize that it's really vulnerable to have your personal, I'm guessing this was something that her therapist wanted her to write. You know, it seemed like it was something done in rehab or something. But it talks about showers with her dad and admitting that they were inappropriate, talks about having a lot of sex when she's younger and feeling like she was molested. I mean, it's really, really sad. And
this is Biden's daughter?
Yeah.
Okay. Huh.
And so it also talks about Hunter and some potential worries about things getting out about him and financial things. It's not a good look. I mean, I wouldn't, if I was Biden, I would not have done what he did because I think that it could add fuel to the fire. I think when those things happen, you generally just want to kind of close the book on it and try to bury it.
Yeah, like you try to make sure the Veritas guy shoots himself in the head 4 times.
Yeah, he drives himself off of a bridge.
Yeah. He gets robbed, but nothing gets stolen. And then he gets shot, you know, weirdly.
Yeah, it seems so crazy that it seems, I guess I always wonder, like, what is this a distraction from? And it was the diary. Maybe he was on to some other case and they went in and took his, you know, flash drive of something else that he had that was more valuable, and they're just throwing Ashley under the bus. I don't know. It just seems very bizarre.
Can you imagine if, like, just flip-flop places and this was Trump Jr. that we were talking about and not Hunter Biden? Like, it would be like an uproar. This would have been like the 7th time that Donald Trump got impeached.
Yeah, if he had been taking showers with Ivanka or Kimberly. No, I don't know what the other Trump kids' names are.
I don't remember. Or like Donald Jr. worked for Burisma. You know, like if that was the case. I mean, granted,
it's also just one of those things too. Like politics aside and our national security aside. I saw another episode where there was a presser talking about the $450,000 going to undocumented people who had been separated by the last administration. And Biden freaked out at the press conference. And it's so uncomfortable to see him raising his voice. Like, I don't even care what he's saying, who he's saying it to. Something is going so terribly wrong. And that's how I feel about this diary is there's something so terribly wrong with the Biden family that needs to be addressed privately and with, you know, I don't know, Dr. Phil or something.
Yeah.
It's so tragic that this girl has these memories with her father that are so awful and disgusting and gross. And it's politicized. I mean, I just wish we could just like pop the Biden family out of the conversation nationally and just like get them away and put them on an island with some kind of therapy and no crack and prostitutes for Hunter to get distracted by.
Well, can Joe Biden at least finish making his rounds of either farting or shitting himself in front of world leaders? Because that part I'm a big fan of. I'm a big fan.
But how can he has people all around him who are competent, you know, Secret Service agents, people managing his schedule and his clothing. When are these people going to be like, there's a problem here? He's shitting himself regularly and saying, he said really weird things to the Pope. I mean, I'm not a fan of that Pope at all, but I tried to follow what he was saying to him, and it was just so bizarre. And then throwing Irish people under the bus too. He made some crack about Irish people and drinking, and it's pretty bizarre.
Yeah, it is. But like I said, I'm a big fan, because I'm not a fan of the Pope either, or the Catholic Church. Like, I have no problem with Catholics, like the people that practice Catholicism, but the Catholic Church itself is oof.
It's the original swamp.
Yeah, and so like I'm a big fan of Biden shitting his pants in front of the Pope. Like, I'm a big fan of that.
Wasn't there a rumor that you could spread COVID through farts? Like, wasn't that a thing for a while? I'm pretty sure you could catch COVID through anything at one point or another. You know, and basically every symptom of every disease ever is also a symptom of COVID at one point. Every time I sneeze or something, I look it up and I'm like, I don't know. This could be Delta. But then it's also like, could it be the new super cold?
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. And so then he apparently let loose just a big old cheek clapper in front of some Duchess or whatever bullshit, Prince Charles's wife, which fuck those people too. So like,
she's a home wrecker. She's the original home wrecker.
Sound is that the one that replaced Princess Diana?
Yes, the sweet anorexic one. Mm-hmm.
Huh. Well, either way, so yeah, there you go. Another, like, I'm starting to become a fan of demented Joe Biden, because that's a 2 for 2 there. Like, if that would only been the Queen though, like you gotta just like not just shit your pants in front of the Queen, but like trip and then just like projectile diarrhea into the Queen's mouth. That's the next step. If he can do that, I will declare him the greatest president that has ever lived.
Do you think there will be a press conference where a reporter asks about it? Like, how far away are we from talking about farting at a national presidential press conference?
You know, I would have expected Trump to bring that into play. And he never did. I gotta say, you know, entertainment value wise, it's kind of an even trade between Trump and Biden. If it's, it's entertaining both ways.
Yeah, especially because we know that the dementia is not going to get better.
No.
It's getting rapidly worse.
Like nobody's recovered from dementia ever.
Yeah. Not even with like drinking infant's blood or whatever they do.
Just look at the cast of characters running this. So we got Biden, 79. You got old Nancy Pelosi. She's 80 something.
Did you see her at that last press conference? She just kept doing the. And she was hammered. She had hit the Merlot hard before. She was making no sense at all.
What's the Bluth mom? That because me and Aaron were talking about like which politician would be who, and she's got God, what is her name? Something the mom from Arrested Development.
Arrested Development?
Yeah. Lucille Bluth. She is Nancy Pelosi to a T.
She does kind of look like her a little bit.
And they're both drunkards. But yet still like kind of hoity-toity, but they're just drunks. Yeah, how old is old Nance? She's like 82 or something, isn't she?
She's really old. It's kind of surprising that she's the voice of like the Progressive Party. She's not what I would have thought they would have latched onto, but yeah, she's 81, born in 1940 in Maryland.
Jeez, 81.
81.
That's too old to be in a position of power.
I'm really surprised that the founding fathers didn't have an aging out part.
Well,
you know, like they were so concerned about career politicians
but not many of them lasted past like 55 or 60.
Yeah. How old was Jefferson? I don't know when he died.
I think he was in his 70s.
Okay.
I think. I don't know.
Did he die of COVID?
He might have been patient zero. I don't think he ever went over to China, though. I know he spent a lot of time in Europe, but I don't think he went to China.
No, but he did bring a lot of horticultural things from China over, so maybe he got it from a bat. Like
maybe. Yeah, maybe so. Have you been following my science squanch theory?
No.
All right, so, and this is just a theory I've been working on, but like, what if aliens had abducted a Sasquatch?
Okay.
And whatever they did, like they bequeathed the Sasquatch with all the alien technology, and so what we have is an advanced society of Sasquatches that are really running the simulation. Like, for instance, did you know that at one point in the 80s there was a big search for an ape man in the Wuhan province of China? Yeah.
Would the Yeti family be part of that too? Are you not discriminating? Just any kind of Bigfoot sort of thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, because I'm pretty sure that Anthony Fauci's a science squinch. And I say that because of the Wuhan connection. Just so happened that during the 80s, when they stopped looking for this ape man in the Wuhan province, is when they made like leaps and bounds progress in their virology research at the Wuhan Institute of Technology or whatever. Yeah. So I'm thinking, old Fauch dog's got a distant cousin of Asian squanch that's running shit over there. And they probably ate some bat jerky because, you know, it doesn't matter how advanced you get as a civilization, you still got to eat. And I think the Squatches are probably eating some bat jerky. And I mean, it makes sense. If you really think about it, it makes sense.
It does. Maybe they're keeping him at Guantanamo. He's down in Hillary's cage.
See, there's so many angles that I need to research yet, and I haven't got to the Guantanamo part. But I'm pretty sure Marjorie Taylor Greene's a science squanch as well. I don't think Boebert is. I think Lauren Boebert is just that dumb.
I do enjoy them though. They are.
They are entertaining. They're super entertaining, and yeah, they are. I mean, they're just as dumb and superior. I mean, just like supremely confident in their own bullshit as AOC. Like they are just confident that all the stupid.
Like a cage match between the four of them, like Ilhan Omar, AOC, Boebert, Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Marjorie Taylor Greene would destroy all of them.
It would be so entertaining, though.
That would be so one-sided. Marjorie Taylor Greene is a science squanch, and she would rip their limbs off and then probably eat them.
I'd take those women though any day over the other ones. I mean, at least they're pro America.
Yeah, like I don't I honestly don't know what their platform is other than just
They're
crazy.
both MAGA candidates, though, aren't they? I mean, isn't that their?
I know they're big time Trump people, and I know I do like that they will throw out the pedophilia bullshit out there quite a bit. Like they're not afraid to throw that around, and but yeah, they're insane. They are insane.
That is a conspiracy that is going to come true.
I think so. I mean,
I had to bet on one insane one at this moment. No offense to your science squatch, but I do think the pedophilia stuff is really, really, really deeply disturbing.
Well,
I think it's widespread.
I don't think they're mutually exclusive. I don't think they're not connected. But like I said, there's a lot of angles I've got to dig into yet. But Epstein, possible candidate for a science squanch. Osama bin Laden, pretty sure he was a science squanch. Tall, hairy. Every time you got video of him, it was really grainy footage. Mm-hmm. He was always in hiding. I mean, a lot of similarities there. You can make a pretty solid. I can make a pretty solid case that bin Laden was a science squanch. Yeah. But yeah, I that pedophilia deal is it's obviously real. Just the Epstein stuff alone, like that they keep trying to make people forget about, but people just don't forget about it. Like Bill Gates got divorced over that bullshit. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. It's weird. It's weird.
And he wasn't just the only bad egg. You know what I mean? Like you can't just blame it on him. You know, he wasn't the only rich guy doing this. There are many still. Many.
Oh, yeah.
There's, you know, many Ghislaine Maxwells all in every American town doing that kind of predatory recruitment. Yeah,
it's gross.
It's gross.
It's really gross. I'm intrigued to see where the transgender stuff goes, because it is it's getting super entertaining. Where men rule so hard. Like we are just taking over every woman's everything. Like first woman admiral was a man.
I'm sure that felt good to the woman, like the biological woman who was, in the running, like number 4 or 5 and that, and they just scooted that other person up ahead faster. I'm sure that felt good.
Well, I mean, it just shows you how much superior men are, because she didn't even have to have any military experience to and 4-star admiral. I mean, chalk one up for the men. I don't know. I'm like, Dave Chappelle is getting canceled now. Like it's and then the Virginia race between the governor race between 2 white guys is all of a sudden about race now. Like one white guy is, because you didn't vote for this white guy, you're a racist.
Well, I just wish there was a possibility to have communication with the left still. And I just wish they could understand, well, one, that critical race theory is a real thing, even if you want to call it a different thing. But there are educational, federally funded documents talking about critical race theory. So it's definitely real. So that argument goes out the window. And then also the fact that not using critical race theory does not equal not teaching American kids about slavery and Jim Crow and, all different types of westward expansion issues. For some reason, there are real leftists who think now that we are scrubbing the schools of all things about slavery, which has never been the case.
No, like we've learned about that shit from a very early age.
And I'd like to reiterate that we also talk about the Democratic Party and how oppressive they were and using their swamp political power in the South.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's a frustrating thing because I don't think that's it's not going to go anywhere. What about the Virginia lieutenant governor woman? She was incredible.
I didn't follow that race at all until I knew that it was there was I knew that it was like the governor race was very like hotly contested, but I didn't know anything about the lieutenant governor, and I've heard good things about her.
Yeah, Winsome Sears is her name, and she is just incredible. And she was endorsed by the NRA. She's just an incredible person and a really great story. I think her parents were immigrants, and she just has a really empowering, positive message. And I think that's one thing that I do hope the next election is a little bit more infused in. Instead of this, the left is just constantly talking about diabolical destruction.
Yeah.
And I do think, especially after COVID burnout, Americans need hope, because otherwise I think everyone's going to just start killing themselves or, using drugs to an extreme amount. And I'm hoping
I think so. Hey, hold on just a sec. Yeah. I gotta take a phone call real quick. Sure. I'll be right back. Yeah, I think you were like what you were saying about people have to have some sort of hope. I don't know where it comes from, but yeah, it's good to see like kind of normal people winning some races, and I'm sure they'll turn out terrible because they always do, but at least it's not just outwardly crazy people that got elected this time.
Yeah, and I think that as things progress over the next 2 years, I think that what has been coined, like a MAGA agenda or those kind of things will probably change. And I guess my hope is that there can be a lot of discussion around what we actually want. Like instead of us just playing defense all the time and pushing back, I hope we can figure out, now that we know what we don't want with critical race theory, like re-implementing racism and segregation, and we don't want 5-year-old children having irreversible hormone therapy that could hurt them. And we do want to say the Pledge of Allegiance at school and stand up. I'm hoping that we can actually have a plan so that if there is a red wave, which hopefully there will be, we can have something to reinstate. And I think that also because our, the conservative movement or, independent movement is going to be incorporating so many people that we've never seen before call themselves Republicans. I'm hoping that the old guard GOP Rhino people can have room in their hearts for some other ideas. Because I think that a lot of, even in agriculture, there's going to be a lot more people who are homesteady size and, or kind of, we want a GOP that has an environmental message. We're not just all drill, baby, drill. We want to have a little bit of balance. And so not to say that we want to water it down or anything, but hopefully we can hear some other voices and talk about advanced nuclear energy might be a good idea and might be less toxic than a lot more coal, or I don't know what it would look like, and all those things are so polarizing and everybody gets in their camp so quickly. Hopefully the alternative is we just go into communism, and that's not good at all. So I would rather not have what I envision for an energy plan or policy, but have, the freedom to not be vaccinated against things I don't want to be vaccinated against. It's got to be a give and take. And I think because we've been so pushed to the edge, people aren't very flexible right now.
Yeah. I don't know. It's wild. Like there's still those, I don't know, the Republican Party is in a weird spot, right? Both of them are in a weird spot. There's, and I don't know. I don't have much faith that either, that anything good comes of either party in and of itself. But I think you'll see some good or better people elected. Maybe, maybe maybe there'll be some more Rand Paul types that get elected, or even like, I'm not a huge Jim Jordan fan, but like he's all right, and there's people like that I think you'll see a few more. I don't know. 2022 is not looking good for the Democrats right now. If a truck driver in New Jersey can unseat like a 7-term incumbent,
I do love that.
I'm a big fan of that. And then I guess they're going to recount the governor race there too, but like that shouldn't have been that close either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think you're right. And I hope that more people also, especially of sort of like our generation. I mean, I think some of this stuff was inevitable as like the greatest generation, silent generation, and baby boomers started to be phased out. There was going to be some chaos as Gen Xers and Gen Zs and millennials took over, because culturally and morally and ethically we're all so different than our parents and grandparents' generation. So I'm sure there would have been some of this even without Trump or, just the craziness of COVID. But I hope that more people, just more dads, join school boards and just get involved locally. Like so many people have just put that stuff on other people to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope more on a local level, people also get involved. Like even if you hate meetings and politics, you can still join like the cemetery committee or the historical society. Things like that you don't really have to deal with people very much.
Yeah.
But you're involved and you're doing some sort of civic donation of your time.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a good point. Like, I mean, even the Little League thing, that was, it just, that helps. And, it's, the more you can get involved at a local level, the more impact you can have. And I think, well, I mean, you see it a lot here in the last, 5-6 years. We're just state and local governments have told the feds to just piss off. And, whether it be like, Second Amendment sanctuary cities or immigration sanctuary cities, I mean, I don't necessarily agree with that, but I'm a big fan of just nullification at the state and local level. And I'm still not sold on DeSantis, especially as a on the if he decides to run for president, which he probably will. But he's doing a great job in Florida, and maybe that's the best place for him.
Yeah, and I still wonder about. I mean, just when I float ideas of different people, I still think it would be. I see a lot of the excitement in having Trump run again. Like I can get whooped up in that just because I think it's just kind of like it's a fun FU to people. And he's a legend, there's sort of that mythology that's now going with him. But I think if someone like DeSantis, and if he joined forces with like a Tulsi Gabbard, because then if you really wanted to have a uniting, like she's very different on policy and I don't agree with her, but I think that she still hasn't lost sight of American values, and she's like still a trustworthy, good person.
Yeah, she lost me a little bit. She's back on the radical Islam deal. Like we have to defeat radical Islam. You're missing the point.
The alt-right people are now like, maybe radical Islam isn't so bad. I think it's funny though. I do have to say that just from our own like anecdotal thing, we have some people who lived in our town who were, pretty devout. I mean, I wouldn't say they weren't like fundamentalist, but they were, Islamic Muslim people practicing, and the wife was a convert, and they were like the most understanding and nice about all the drama we went through with being canceled and doxxed and stuff. Mm-hmm. It was really, it was pretty incredible. And I mean, that's the problem, is people are so desperate though that they are really thinking that the far conservative people have more in common with radical Islam than we do our leftist American neighbor.
Yeah.
And that's crazy.
Yeah, it really is. And I don't know. It's, I had heard some, like, people were throwing out there, like, the unity ticket between, it was like Tulsi and Dan Crenshaw. And I was like, ugh, can't stand Crenshaw. Like, he's
horrible things about, I mean, I don't know. I really liked him before and I thought he was great, but he seems to be kind of embedded in the swamp.
He's just another John McCain.
He just plays the veteran card too much for me too.
That, and well, he's just straight up neocon, and those are the people that got us where we're here now. I mean, those are the people that destroyed the Republican Party from within. They're the people that got us involved in the Middle East. They're the people that keep us in the Middle East, and all their buddies get fabulously wealthy from it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there's definitely certain things, and maybe this is just like a getting older thing, but I do feel like I'm starting to have like lines drawn in the sand too of certain things that I can't cross. Like if people have ever voted, even if it's for some sort of strategy for limiting, firearm ownership, they just lose me. Like I don't think I can ever go back. Even when I do understand, sometimes they have to give and take, and there's some, they vote a certain way just to throw a bill under the bus. But I don't know. It's a dangerous game to play. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. That's why I'm still such a big fan of Ron Paul. It just, if it wasn't constitutional and it wasn't pro-liberty, he voted no. Mm-hmm. And they're just, and you could call him obstructionist or whatever you wanted. Dr. No, that was his nickname, and there was a reason for it. And the more and more I see of politics, like the more and more convinced I think he's going to be looked on well throughout history. Like this guy was important. Mm-hmm. And Rand Paul doesn't quite live up to his dad, but he's still the best senator that we've ever seen. Mm-hmm. And the stuff that he is grilling Fauci on is nothing short of heroic. Because he's the only one really pushing back from a educated scientific standpoint, with in front of a big audience anyways, and like the people of Kentucky ought to be proud that they've got that guy up there. I mean, we got to have more people like that, and not just elected, but like throughout the swamp, because it's I don't know, I don't know where.
It might not be something that can be done peacefully because it's so entrenched and embedded. I mean, I hate to say that, and I don't want to sound like pessimistic about, a big election sweep helping, but the federal government is so big at this point. I don't know how you pare it down to what the founding fathers envisioned for the nation. I'm not sure how you would do that with how big, like the IRS is and just how everything is structured. And it's been interesting because I've been following different states that are trying to figure out their voter fraud stuff. And there's a group in Tennessee that has, a pretty active group that's tried to get some legislation passed. And it's so interesting to see people there saying that they think their state is lost because it's like so corrupt. And I could be wrong, but I think it's like an 85 or 90% conservative state. I mean, it's really conservative and it's getting more and more conservative every election, in the past, 10 years or so. But why I think people are not getting the results they want is because they don't understand how the feds are involved in everything. Like everything is we've let the federal government get far too big. So it's really hard to enact any change on the local or state level because the federal government's so powerful.
Right.
So, but I don't know. I mean, it's like the thing with the masks and all the COVID stuff. Like, you think the federal government's going to relinquish power? Like, they're not going to ever do that. They're never going to give back our tax dollars or cut our taxes. They're just going to finagle us in some other way. So I'm not sure how you make a massive change.
I don't know. I think this cryptocurrency thing is a good start, though. Like, I don't know how any of it works, but I know that the federal government is not a fan of it, so therefore I'm a fan of it.
But they could do some kind of nationwide blackout, like internet blackout, and you could never have access to it again.
Yeah, I don't know, but they
could make every conservative unable to use an iPhone or Android, and then you're fucked.
Yeah.
Like, that's the problem with it that worries me.
I don't know.
It puts so much power in other people's hands.
There's that, but I've heard a story about this guy in Germany that got sent to prison and he had something like $500 million in Bitcoin, and he went to prison for something like 10 years, and they tried like hell to freeze his assets and whatever, and but he never gave his password. And when he got out of prison, he had $500 $500 million in Bitcoin.
Wow.
Yeah. And I don't know how any of it works. It just, you hear stuff like that and you're just like, huh. Well, all right. Maybe I'm a Bitcoin guy. I don't know.
Well, I'm sure it's not bad to be diversified in a lot of different things.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird time we live in, and I think there's some really big shit that's about to happen, and I don't know what that's going to entail. I don't know if it's going to be violent. I don't know if it's going to, but it's going to be big. I know that. Like, something big is about to go down, and I don't know what it is.
Yeah, and I hope that there's some really cool stuff. I mean, I hope that there's things that are really good for humanity.
Yeah.
Like, I am really excited, and I really think that there could be also like a revival time in America. It is Sunday after all. But I do really wonder about that. I mean, even in our area that's incredibly anti-organized religion and anti-Christianity, like, they just had a huge addition on a church just across the river from us. And I don't know. I mean, it seems like some people have realized that they're lacking, God in their life, and they want to try to tap into that more. And that would be really amazing. That would change politics a lot.
Yeah. It's funny how we've like done a complete 180 on the culture, though. Like where the '90s, it was the Christian conservatives that were shutting down culture, and now it's the radical left that has become the religious fundamentalists, and it's funny to watch.
Yeah, and I hope. I mean, I worry sometimes about like how the swing will be back. And that is how like World War II, like Weimar Republic stuff was very, over sexualized, corrupt, immoral society with like academic elites just pushing insane stuff and
you ever read any Douglas Murray stuff like Madness?
Yeah, like the Madness of Crowds guy.
Yeah, and he's talking about how civilization or empires at their downfall become obsessed with gender. They're just like, yep. Well, and just like that it costs a lot of money to run an empire, and eventually you spread yourself too thin. You become too tyrannical, and it just becomes unfeasible.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be pessimistic either. What comes next? I mean, it could be something wonderful.
Yeah. And
a much better fit. I mean, I know for me, like living in a leftist communist place is not for me. It just doesn't work. I can't do the things I want to do. Can't say the things I want to say, and there's no upward mobility for me or future generations in that overtaxed environment. And like, I'm glad some people like it, but I don't want to be a part of it. So maybe there will be sort of a balkanization effect, and I don't know. But those are always a little bit messy.
Yeah.
Luckily, Americans are really lazy right now, though.
That's true.
We got that to work with.
Well, and I really don't think we have to worry about being invaded by China or Russia. So
they're like, we don't want you. You guys are too weird.
Well, and still, then if you try to invade, we're still the most heavily armed country on earth. So.
And we've got like a crazy guy and a crazy vice president with their hands over the button who might just accidentally push it when he farts.
Yeah, he might shit on the nuclear button.
On it and the wiring gets all like fucked up.
just a weird mixture of Adderall and Metamucil that short circuits the nuclear codes.
No, I do think though. I do think that it is probably inevitable, the Taiwan thing, and I think that could be messy and unfortunate. But
and something we don't need to be involved in.
Or we might just let him go and be like, "Sorry, Taiwan, you're just going to be invaded." I mean, I could see Joe Biden doing that.
And
fucking it up.
Well, yeah, I don't know. That's
I mean, I never would have thought he would have done what he did in Afghanistan. So.
Well, I mean, if there's a bright side, given the leadership of the military, at least we don't have a bunch of soldiers in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was awful pullout, but at least we're out. That's, yeah. Especially given who's at the head of things. At least we don't have another 15,000 troops in Afghanistan. That's 15,000 troops.
We just have a bunch of ISIS fighters embedded in the U.S. planning to blow shit up soon.
Yeah. Oof.
But
that's a mess. Well, messy. I gotta get, but it was a fun one.
Good to talk with you.
Yeah, you too. You guys stay safe over there.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. And thanks everybody for tuning in, and move your ass with Burning Daylight.
now begun, and we must go a-marching at the beating of the drum. Go dress yourself all in your best and come along with me. I'll take you to the wars, me love, in high Germany. Oh Willie, love, oh Willie, come listen to what I say. My feet, they are so tender, I cannot march away. And besides, my dearest Willie, I am with child by thee, not fitted for the wars, me love, in high Germany. I will buy for you a horse, me love, and on it you shall ride. And all me life I'll be there riding by your side. We'll stop at every alehouse and drink when we are dry. Stay true to one another, get married by and by. Oh, cursed be the cruel wars that ever they should rise. And out of merry England press many men likewise. They've pressed my true love from me, likewise my brothers three. They've sent them to the wars, me love, in high Germany. My friends I do not value, my foes I do not fear. For now my love has left me, I wander far and near. And when my baby it is born and smiling on my knee, I'll think of lovely Willie in high Germany. Oh Polly, love, oh Polly, the rout has now begun, and we must go a-marching at the beating of the drum. Go dress yourself all in your best and come along with me. I'll take you to the wars, me love, in high Germany. I'll take you to the wars, me love, in high Germany. I'll take you to the wars, me love, in high Germany.